Hi everybody. Hey YouTube. What it do? How y'all doing? This is your girl Black Natural 08 coming back at you with another video. Um I thought that this video would be about where in the world I've been for the past 4 years. Now excuse the quality of my video. I'm using my computer because I don't have a camera. Um, and I don't have enough space on my phone, so it is what it is. This is what you're gonna get today. Give me just a second because it's hot in here and I need to turn on the fan before I have a heart attack. I ain't trying to have no heat stroke. And don't worry, y'all, I ain't naked. I ain't naked. I got on clothes. It's just halter type dress. So hold on 1 second, y'all. I'm trying to put this movie on so I have something to listen to. um, trying to find me a movie to watch. Oh, Coco. Oh, that's what y'all do. I know what you mean. Hopefully this thing is not in Spanish yet. And it is in Spanish. I can't listen to it in Spanish because I'm not going to know what they're talking about. Sorry, y'all. But I put it on the movie Star. That movie is so cute. And it has such a wonderful message behind it, which is kind of part of the message that I'm probably going to have in here. But again, I'm sorry y'all, my chair is squeaking so loud and it's ridiculous. Um, need some WD-40 on it or something. But I wanted to make a video about where I've been for 4 years and why I've been gone for so long. Um, number one, the number one reason why I've been gone so long is if you remember in the last video that I made 4 years ago, I had just gotten engaged and I just had a baby. That baby is now 5 years old. um, and the young man and I actually got married. Um, and we've been married almost 5 years now. Excuse me, y'all, I got a cold and it's getting on my nerves. Um, we've been married almost 5 years now. It hasn't always been the best, but I wouldn't trade him for nothing in the world. Um, I'm a, oh Lord, what I done did? Yeah, I was trying to make the screen bigger, and I think I did the opposite of what I was trying to do. You know what? I'm gonna leave this alone before I mess up something. But the first thing I want to talk about, as far as why I've been gone so long, is like I said, I've gotten married, and things between me and my husband in the beginning were great. And once we got married, it wasn't that he necessarily changed or anything like that. Um, what Part of what happened was I started to suffer from postpartum depression. And before having my daughter, I had already been diagnosed with depression and anxiety. So I already had a clinical diagnosis and I was already being treated and I was on medication. And once I got pregnant, I had to stop taking that medication. But no one, and I do mean no one, told me before having my daughter that pregnancy would cause the changes that it caused in my body. As y'all can see, I gained weight after having my daughter. I gained 50 pounds after I had my baby. And I haven't gotten it off yet. And that was one of the contributing factors to my depression. In the beginning, after having my daughter, I was having problems breastfeeding, where I don't know if I was like so anxious or so tense or whatever the case may be. I was not producing enough milk. I couldn't feed my daughter. Um, my fiance at the time, um, well, actually, he was my boyfriend then. Um, he tried, y'all. He was running around trying to find breast pumps to help me. That wasn't helping. It Y'all, it got bad. It got to the point, so I had to take my daughter to the doctor to try to figure out what milk was the best milk to give her because I couldn't make it. I wasn't making enough milk. It's like I was making it, but it wasn't coming out. Like I had knots all in my chest, y'all, where the milk was just backing up in my chest. I mean, painful knots. So, they put my baby on this powder formula. Y'all, the powdered formula. The formula jacked up my baby, y'all. Like, Gerber need to quit making powder damn formula. Okay? Because when I say my baby's tummy couldn't tolerate it, she couldn't tolerate it. It was causing her to um, to be backed up to where she couldn't use the bathroom, and when she would try to poo poo, it would be damn near as hard as a brick, and she would scream and she would cry, and I'm talking about my baby wasn't even a month old yet at the time. So we dealt with that, and then we finally figured out she can't have powdered formula, so we had to put her on the liquid formula, which solved that problem. Okay, so all of that factored into the postpartum depression. And then it got to where I could not stand to look at my daughter. And that is the truth. I didn't want to be near her. I didn't want to look at her. I didn't want her in the house. I didn't want to hear her crying. I didn't give a damn about her being hungry. Postpartum depression was kicking my behind, and nobody told me that's what was wrong with me. So for the first 2.5 years of my daughter's life, I hated her. I I hated her. I hated having a baby in the house. I hated having to take care of her. I hated that she had to depend on me and couldn't do nothing for herself. And I, at that time, did not understand why I felt that way. Because in my mind, I was like, what kind of mother hates her own child? The child that she prayed for, the child that she went through hell and high water to have. Because, y'all, my daughter almost died the day that she was born because her heart stopped. And, you know, my baby is a miracle baby. I tell people that all the time. You know, I tell people how literally angels brought my baby to me. You know, um, and it's like, how do you go from the day that she's born, looking at her and feeling like life itself has come full circle, and you created one of the most beautiful things in the world that you could have ever created, to now you hate the very thing that you created. Um, I spent a lot of time, like I would take my daughter to my mom and dad and drop off, or it would get to the point where I would call my mom and dad, please come get her, I can't deal with her. Um, and I think, talking to my mom and dad later on, like I had to talk with my dad not that long ago, um, and he told me, he's like, I knew something was going on. He's like, at first I couldn't pinpoint it, but I knew something was going on. He's like, that's why I always came and got the baby. That's why I always came and got her. He's like, because I knew that something wasn't right. And you know what? I thank God for my mama and daddy, because if it was not for them, I think I would have hurt my daughter. And that's not joking, y'all. That's straight up telling the truth. I think I would have hurt my child. And that in itself is a thought that terrifies me. What I could have done to my baby. Because not at that time, like I said, I was suffering from postpartum depression. I was depressed because I couldn't figure out how to be a good mother. Then I had just got married. Not that long after my daughter was born, I got married. So now I'm struggling trying to figure out how to be a good wife. And at that time, I was still helping to take care of my mom and daddy, which I still take care of them, but not as much as I did before, because now my brother helps. So, my brother took a lot of that pressure off me too. So I was dealing with postpartum depression. I was struggling trying to figure out how to be a good mother. I was struggling with how to be a good wife. And with all of those things going on, I never took care of me. Not one time did I ever take care of me. And the more these four other things were going on, and the more they were going on, and the more they were going on, the less and less and less Sarah took care of Sarah. And the less and less and less Sarah gave a damn about Sarah. And the less and the less and the less I forgot about my relationship with God. And the second year of my marriage, up until last year, and like I said, I've been married almost 5 years. So the second year of my marriage, up until last year, my my relationship with my husband was hell. It was complete hell. I hated my husband. I ain't give a damn about what he was feeling, how he was feeling, what he wanted, what he thought. Because I felt at that time I was feeling like all you doing is pushing a baby off on me, and you want me to be this superwoman and this superhero, and you want me to be this type of woman that your mom is, but I'm not your mama. I can't be your mama. And I felt like I was being pushed into a situation that I couldn't control. And I felt like everybody wanted me to do everything. And the more pressure everybody put on me, I felt like the more nobody cared that I was falling apart. I was falling apart, y'all. When I say I was having temper tantrums, um, my hair was falling out, I was continuing to gain weight. Um, my mind was never in the right place at any point in time. My mind was never in the right place. Um, like I said, I had forgot about my relationship with God. I had quit reading the Bible. I didn't give a damn about God. Like, God who? Because if there was a real God, he wouldn't be putting me through this. If there was a real God, I wouldn't be crying every day. If there was a real God, I wouldn't be upset every day. If there was a real God, I wouldn't be depressed. If there was a real God, you see the pattern, right? Y'all see the pattern? So, like I said, my relationship with my husband was falling apart. We wasn't communicating. And it was like the more I felt like I was screaming at my husband to see me and to understand what I was going through, it was like he wasn't getting it. My baby wasn't getting it. He wasn't getting it, y'all. And I ain't trying to say my baby's slow, because he not. I just think, you know, he's so used to the women in his life doing it all, because his mama does it all. Because his daddy was never there. After a certain age, his daddy wasn't there after a certain age. So his mama did it all. She raised 3 boys with no help. And she did everything by herself, but I ain't that chick. I ain't that chick. I ain't even gonna lie. I ain't that chick. I mean, I'm strong. I'm a strong woman and all. I am a very, very strong black woman, y'all. But society says that a woman is supposed to do everything. A black woman's supposed to be strong all the time. A black woman's supposed to do. A black woman's supposed to do. Women in general are supposed to do all this stuff, and all the man's supposed to do is go to work, come home. That's his job, and that's a lie. That is a lie. When I tell y'all, I'm telling y'all every day in day out, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the baby, um, and then trying to find time to please my husband and make sure he got what he want. But at the end of the day, I be so damn tired and worn out. I'm like, I ain't in the mood for nothing. And then he would get mad at me because he felt like I was neglecting him. And then it would just, it would just go on and it would go on. Y'all, I was a stay-at-home mama for the first 3 years of my baby life, and it was horrible. Being a stay-at-home mother for the first 3 years of my daughter's life was horrible. It was horrible. In that time, I tried to take my own life 3 times, y'all. I tried to kill myself 3 times in the time that I was a stay-at-home mom. Um, the last time, well, the second time, I had told my husband, "Baby, I'm so sorry. I'll never do this again. I promise I'll never do this again." Um, and things was cool for a few minutes or whatever, but the underlying situation had never been dealt with. The underlying situation had never been touched. And all of those feelings of anxiety and depression and feeling like I wasn't getting what I needed came right back. They came right back. I tried again. We went through this trying to communicate, and instead of me and my husband talking to each other, all we did was talk at each other, or we screamed at each other. And it was that cycle all over again. All over again. And then by the time my husband actually started to try to fix things, because he really did try, I didn't give a damn anymore. I didn't care. Because I felt like I had screamed for so long and I had tried to tell you for so long. I just don't care. I really don't care. And the more my husband tried, the more I didn't give a damn. The more he tried, the less I gave a damn about him. Because I'm going to tell y'all real quick. When I get to the point that I'm done with you, you're just another nigga to me. And when you start to feel like just another nigga to me, guess how I'm going to treat you? Like you just another nigga to me. And I've always been that way. I've been that way my whole life. And it had gotten to the point where that's how I was treating my husband, y'all. And that's horrible. A wife should never treat her husband like he's just another dude. And y'all, I know I've been told so many times that I have such a niggerish personality. Which I gotta understand. I grew up with a lot of male friends. So I understand where that comes from. Um, I didn't have a lot of female friends growing up. But, you know, all jokes aside, a wife should never treat her husband like that. Um, but in the same token, when someone in your family is crying out for help, the way that I felt like I was screaming for help, it is your job and your responsibility to understand that it's something going on and that this person in your life needs help. Mental illness is not a joke. And I was severely dealing with mental health issues, y'all. Mental health in the black community does not get addressed enough. It doesn't. When we as black people go through things, what the family tell you? What happened in the house need to stay in the house. Or, well, you need to quit acting like that. You ain't got no reason to be feeling like that. Mental health is not a joke, y'all. It's not a joke. I mean, y'all hearing me, right? Mental illness is not a joke. I'm gonna tell y'all. The last time I ended up in the hospital, the third time I tried to kill myself, my husband had me sent to the hospital. And they kept me. I stayed for, what was it, 3, 4 days under evaluation. And at that time, I learned a lot about myself. I couldn't stand being away from my daughter, the baby that I hated. I couldn't stand to be away from her. I cried every night because I was not with my daughter. I looked myself in the mirror one day and I said, Sarah, what are you doing here? What were you thinking that you thought it was okay to end up in here? Like, what is going on in your head that you felt God can't get you through? Why did you think that taking your life was the best situation when you have a child at home to take care of? She'll never get another mother. Your husband can move on and get another wife all he wants to. That little girl will never have another mother. You know, so in the time that I was in there, my husband never came to see me. And I understand why he didn't. And I don't fault him for that. He honestly couldn't handle it. He could not handle it. Like, he wouldn't talk to me while I was there. Nothing. He so upset with me because I had promised the second time that I wouldn't do it again. And I broke my promise, y'all. um, so while I was in there, I had a visit from my sister and her husband. And my sister brought me something. She brought me a Bible. And I remember having so many questions running through my head. Like, why, Lord? Why me? Why does this continue to always be me? Why is this always my life? Why is this always happening to me? Why can't I just get past all of this pain that I have? And in reading the Bible, I was like, Lord, I don't understand. Sorry, y'all. How to be a good wife and how to be a good mother, but also how to take care of me at the same time to make sure that I'm okay. I don't know how to do it all. And I started looking through the Bible. And I read a little here and I read a little there. But I remember the very day that I came home from the hospital, I happened upon a passage in the Bible, and I'm sorry, y'all, but I can't remember what it is right now. But it talked about, I think it was the one about um, wives submit unto your husbands. And, you know, the part about where it says husbands should also submit unto the wife. You know, it was those verses. And I read through those, and I read the entire chapter, y'all. And when I got to the end of that chapter, I said, Lord, I don't understand what this means. Can you clarify it for me? Because I really need to understand. So that night when I went to sleep is when I gained clarity. Because when I woke up the next morning, I was like, I know what it means. I know what I did wrong. And what I did wrong was I expected my husband to fill a void in my heart that I hadn't even took the time to fill myself. I wanted my husband to fix what was wrong with me. It wasn't his job. It was never his job. It was never his responsibility. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, ladies and gentlemen, whoever watching this, it is not somebody else's responsibility to love you. Take it how you want to take it. Can't nobody give you what you don't already have. If you cannot love yourself, nobody else can give you what you need. Because if you don't know how to love you, how can you tell somebody else how to love you? They will never be able to love you the way that you need love. It'll never happen. And I say that because if you can't put you first, how can he put you first? If you can't give love and affection to yourself first, how can he give you love and affection? A man is not supposed to give you what you need. You're supposed to find what you need within you, and that man is only supposed to enhance what you already have. He's only supposed to add to what you already have. He ain't supposed to give it to you. And that was the problem I was facing. I needed somebody to love me. I wanted somebody to love me. I wanted somebody to take care of me. I needed somebody to be there for me. But I hadn't done any of that for myself. I had done none of that for myself. And I'm not excusing my husband's behavior. I'm not excusing anything that he had done. But at this time, once I had this realization, we were trying to work things out, y'all. But we just kept bumping heads, bumping heads, bumping heads. And then eventually, we took a break. I moved in with my mom and dad, which is kind of where I'm still at now. My husband moved in with his mom, and we separated. And in the time that we were separated, um, I was still learning a lot about myself and learning how to better understand Sarah, and how to better love Sarah, and how to be a better mother, and just trying to learn how to be a better wife, and all these wonderful things. Um, Even landed a good job. Honey, y'all, I was working at BMW, y'all. Um, but I didn't stay at BMW long because my heart kept saying, "You need to go home. You need to get your family together." So after about 3, 4 months of working at BMW, which was a great job, y'all. It was a great job. 17 out, $17 an hour, baby. Um, I left BMW, went back home because I could not stand being away from my daughter, and I was missing my husband. And so I left South Carolina, where I live, and went to where my husband is, and stayed with my husband a couple of months to try to work it out. But when I got to where my husband was, my husband had fell into old traps with old friends who didn't give a damn that he was a married man. And those old traps led to old behavior to the point where my husband actually cheated on me. And some other stuff happened, but that's neither here nor there. Um, and at that time, I straight up told my husband I was going to kill him. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to whoop your ass or if I'm going to take your fucking life. But one of the two or both may just happen. Because that's how I really was feeling. And there again, I felt like I was going through another trial, another tribulation. Everything I had worked so hard for was falling apart. And I was starting to go back into depression again. And by this time, I had been taking off all of my medications because I was doing so well, y'all. Um, and I was at the point where I no longer wanted to take medication anymore because I felt like my body had had enough of the medication. Um, but I had started to slip back into depression. But it was at this time, I didn't forget about God this time. I didn't. I started praying and I kept praying. And I had one prayer in mind, y'all. And I said, Lord, this is my prayer for my husband. I pray that you make him the man that you want him to be, not the man that I desire him to be. And that's been my prayer for my husband since then. Because I was wanting him to be what I wanted him to be, instead of allowing him to be who God created him to be. And again, that don't take away from his faults. That don't take away from the things that he did wrong. But we're not talking about him. We talk about me right now. I learned some things from that. And we decided to stay separated at that point. We even talked about divorce. But I do not believe in divorce because I made a promise to God the day that we got married. And I feel like if you get divorced, that means you told God a lie. And I'm not in the habit of lying to the Lord. So I told my husband, I'm just going to pack my things and go home. When you're ready to come home, you know where I'm at. And every day I prayed for him that same prayer. Lord, make him the man that you want him to be, not the man that I desire him to be. And my husband had some demons to fight through. He had some things to work out on his own. And the only way those things were going to get worked out was us being apart. A couple of months later, I got a phone call. He said, I'm coming home. And I kid y'all not. Since then, y'all, when I say we communicate better. Like, I mean, we still have little disagreements or whatever. We always gonna bump heads because my husband always see things one way and I always see things the other way. That ain't never gonna change. It will never, ever, 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 ever change. So we're always going to bump heads, y'all. But we don't bump heads the way that we used to. Now it's more finding that common ground and understanding I don't have to be right all the time. And he think he right all the time. So I have learned to pick my battles. If he say he right, we gonna let him be right. But I've also learned how to say I'm sorry when I know I was wrong. And I've also learned that when you have a disagreement with someone, you don't have to push their buttons all the time. Because I used to be bad about that. If you hurt me, damn it, I'm hurting you. I'm going to hit below the belt. I'm pushing buttons and I'm going to piss you off because I'm pissed off. And I've learned not to do that. Um, I've actually learned how to be a better mother, a better wife, and a better Sarah because I put Sarah first now. If I feel like I'm not getting what I need from my husband, I let it be known. And my husband does the same. If he feels like I'm slacking or if he feels like he not getting what he need, he does the exact same thing. Hey, Sarah, look, this is the problem. We need to talk about this. Or I'll go to him and say the same thing. And we actually listen to each other now. We actually take each other's feelings into consideration. Now, there's been a couple of times where we bumped heads a little bit more on a serious note. But by the following day, we good. We over it. We don't do none of that lingering hostility like we used to do, and we don't do none of that mess no more. Um, when I say communication has gotten so much better, communication has gotten awesome, y'all. Even the sex got better. Like, yeah, we gonna leave that one right where it is. But it's gotten a lot better. Um, the way that I treat my daughter has gotten better. Um, oh my God, y'all, my baby's so spoiled. She's spoiled rotten. She's spoiled. Like, I go get her nails done every 2 weeks. I take her shopping. She gets her hair done every week to 2 weeks. Um, oh my God, what do we not do? She she's spoiled, and mommy loves her. Oh, excuse me, y'all. Mommy loves her like beyond all measure. Mommy loves her. Um, and my family situation has changed for the better. Uh, Having that understanding that God never left me, but He needed me to hit rock bottom to understand that He was still there and He had never left me. He needed me to hit rock bottom so that I would get up off my behind and do what He needed me to do. He needed me to hit rock bottom to come back to Him. You know, we so often get into these situations and want to blame God, but God's not to blame. We're to blame. because we made bad decisions. And that's exactly what was going on in my household. We were making bad decisions. And, excuse me, y'all, my eye itching. I was making bad decisions, and the devil was capitalizing. Oh, excuse me, y'all. The devil was capitalizing on those bad decisions that I was making, and the decisions that my husband was making, and he was tearing my household apart. Um, y'all, I'm telling you, the devil was in my home for real, y'all. Like, no joke. My daughter was maybe about 3 at the time, and we ended up having spirits. We had spirits in our home, um, and there was like the air in the house was always heavy, and it didn't matter how much I cleaned or how much um, of anything positive we were trying to do. It was never working. Like when I say the air in my house was heavy, the air in my house was heavy. The feeling in my house was always negative. The energy was always negative, and it got to the point my baby would not go down the hall, y'all. My 3-year old would not go down the hall. Anytime she would get to the hall, she would start screaming and crying. And anytime we would go into her bedroom, she wouldn't stay in there. She would never go in her room. We literally had spirits in our home because of all the tension and the negative energy that me and my husband had towards one another. These entities were feeding off of it. So one day, me and my husband decided enough is enough. We went to church, took my daughter, and had the church to pray over my baby and over our family. And that was a bit of a turning point. Excuse me. Where it was like, okay, Sarah, y'all got to get it together. Because you got your family falling apart, you got demons in your house. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? We literally had the elders of the church, my mom and dad, my brother, my husband, myself, and the baby in the house, walking through our house, cleansing the entire house to push out these spirits. And when they were done, the air in my house changed. The smell in my house changed. The light shined brighter in my house. My daughter stopped crying. My baby would go down the hall now. Never think twice about it. She would go sit in her room and stay in there for hours by herself and play. So understand that the devil does attack you. When you going through and you down and you depressed, depression is the very door that he walked through. It's the very door that he walks through, y'all. So every day, y'all got to look in that mirror and say every day that today is a good day. And understand that every day is a good day. Don't let the devil have you, y'all. And understand that mental illness is real. Mental illness is not a joke. Mental illness is not a lie. But we got to stand up and fight against it. We got to fight against the devil, and we got to fight against all of this negativity in the black community. Y'all, we can't keep living like this. It affects our children. It affects our lives. And I'm telling y'all, what you speak is what you manifest. If everything you give thought to is negative, guess what you always going to get back? You will always get back something negative. You have got to change your mindset. You got to change the way you're thinking. I'm still learning. My family is still learning. We still making mistakes, but we still learning. Um, and here lately, we've had to have a lot of understanding because we just found out that my daughter has autism. And if I hadn't gone through what I went through and came out the way I came out, I wouldn't have been able to handle the fact that my daughter is disabled. And I now have a disabled child to raise. Lord knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. He had to break me down to rebuild me so that I would be strong enough to handle what is going on with my daughter right now and the things that will happen in her future. Because right now we don't know if she'll ever be self-sustaining. We don't know if she'll ever be able to do anything on her own. I mean, she can do some stuff now on her own, and she's doing so good, y'all. My sweetie P doing good. But autism is one of those things she'll always have. Now, to look at her, you would never know she's autistic unless you listen close or look at her real close. Then you can tell. But for all of the doctor's appointments and the genetic testing that we had to have done, and she's got other things that we need to do because now they're saying she may have inherited a genetic heart condition. So now we got to deal with that. And she apparently got it from me, something that I didn't even know I had. But it don't bother me, so I'm not gonna worry about it. Cause the Lord didn't give me a spirit of fear. So I feel like if He wanted something to happen to me, it would have happened a long time ago. It didn't, so hey, I'm good. Um, but now we have to go through getting her heart tested to make sure that her heart's okay and dealing with other stuff. But you know what? Through it all, I'm going to continue to pray. And I'm going to continue to give it to the Lord because I understand Yeshaya is the only one that can do it. And yes, I said Yeshaya because that's his real name. I'm going to give it to the Most High because in the hands of the Most High, He's the most powerful. He has it all. He's got it all. He's given it all. I have not because I ask not. So I'm going to continue to believe in the Most High and believe that His words are true and they will never return unto me void. And I believe in my heart of heart, He'll never let me down. He gonna help me keep pushing. Our family's gonna keep pushing. Our family's gonna get better. We're gonna get greater. And nothing will ever stop us. Because for everything that we've been through, and my family has still stuck it out. We still pushing. Everything else left in life is easy. We done been through the hard stuff. We done been through the hard stuff. Everything else, that's a breeze. That's whatever. I mean, the saying is true, y'all. God don't give you no more than you can handle. It's the stuff that we put on ourselves that make it worse. Because God didn't put that stuff on us. We put that stuff on us. So, I guess this is probably the end of my video, but y'all, come on now. You've been through harder stuff in life. The rest of life is easy if you already been through the hard stuff. Don't sweat small stuff. Love yourself first. Put yourself first. But but that doesn't mean be selfish when you put yourself first. Give your love. Freely give love, y'all. Because love is freely given unto you. And above all else, keep God. Just keep God first. Keep the Most High first. And nothing in your life will ever be bad. And I really mean that. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Just keep keep the Lord first. You keep him first. With him on your side, who can be your enemy? I mean, really. But I'm gonna talk to y'all later. Cause this I need to take something for this cold. And think about whatever my next topic gonna be for my next video, which is probably gonna be a haul. I'm not sure. Because I already put a video before this one showing y'all my Chanel bag. But seriously, y'all, mental health is not a joke in the black community. You gotta take it serious when somebody is telling you how they feel. And number two, if you going through, find some help. Get some help from somewhere, whether it be the church, somebody in the family, or a friend, or just anybody you can trust. Get help. Seriously, y'all. Because we got to combat this. It's running rampant through our people. And it's got to stop. We got to get it under control. Our people need help. Our people dying every day. And it's something that can change. So y'all be safe and y'all keep it 100, all right?